Good morning. Welcome to this Southland Conference call as we enter the FCS playoffs. Again, Todd Lamb, Southland Conference Assistant Commissioner for Communications. I'll moderate today's call with Coach Willie Fritz at Sam Houston State. I want to go over a few notes, actually a few guidelines for the call before we get started. We do restrict this call to official news gathering media members only. The general public, including fans and fan websites, are prohibited from participating during the call. We ask that you do not place the call on hold or use the speakerphone at any time on today's call. I have muted all phone lines at the start of the call, so to speak or to ask a question, please press *6 to unmute your line. That is the same command to mute your line after you've asked a question. Media, prior to asking a question, we just ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization, and then any violation of these guidelines may lead to immediate disconnection from the call. It's the first week of the playoffs. The Southland Conference is proud to have 3 teams in the playoffs this year. That's the 5th time the Southland has had 3 teams in the playoffs. To the other years were 2001, 1998, 1993, and 1988. This is our 3rd straight year with multiple teams in the playoffs. We had 2 teams receive first-round byes, including our champion Southeastern Louisiana. They're the number 4 seed. They are 10-2 overall, finished 7-0 in conference. It's their first Southland Conference championship and first conference title since 1961. Southeastern does await the winner of the matchup that we'll be previewing today between Sam Houston State and Southern Utah. McNeese State is a number 6 seed. They are 10-2 as well, and 6-1 in the conference. This is the first time the Southland Conference has had 2 10-win teams heading into the playoffs. We've had multiple 10-win teams previously, but the teams have reached multiple or double-digit wins after the playoff or into the playoffs. So this is the first time through the regular season the Southland has had 2 10-win teams. McNeese State awaits the winner of Jacksonville State Sanford. That game is Saturday at 7 Central on ESPN3. That game will be played. The McNeese game. McNeese will host. That game is December the 7th at 6 p.m. Central, also on ESPN3. The winner of Sam Houston State and Southern Utah plays Southeastern December the 7th at 7 p.m. Central on ESPN3. As a note to media, the conference will be announcing its all-conference teams and postseason awards this afternoon by 2 o'clock. So look for that release as well. Want to talk a little bit about this matchup before we bring Coach Fritz onto the call. Sam Houston State is 8-4 on the year. They finished in a 3rd place tie at 4-3, getting an at-large bid into the playoffs. This is their 3rd straight year in the playoffs and their 7th appearance all time. They reached the last 2 championship games and carry a 9-6 all-time record in the playoffs. The last 3 years, Sam is 6-0 against Big Sky teams, including 5-0 in the playoffs. A little bit about the opponent: Southern Utah, 8-4, tied for 4th in the Big Sky at 5-3. They received an at-large bid into the playoffs. They're one of an FCS best 4 Big Sky teams in the playoffs, joining Eastern Washington, Northern Arizona, and Montana. And I believe this is the first playoff appearance for Southern Utah. I do want to say that there is no relation between myself and Ed Lamb, the head coach at Southern Utah. I did notice that when I was working on the weekly release, but thought that might be worth noting. Coach Fritz, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
All right. I guess if you would, just talk about the road to get here and how thrilled you are, obviously, at getting an at-large bid into the playoffs ending the year on a couple of losses?
Well, we're very excited about being able to participate in the NCAA playoffs. It's a great event. We've gotten used to it over the last couple of years, and we're hoping that we were going to be able to make it. And fortunately, I think because of the strength of the Southland Conference this season, we were able to get an at-large bid. New life for our guys. When you leave it in the committee's hands, you never know what's going to happen. We were dejected because we came out and did not play very well, particularly in the first half in our last ball game against Central Arkansas. But new season now, and looking forward to being able to play another home game and having a fine Southern Utah team travel down here to Texas for some great weather. I think we're talking about it being between 60 and 70 degrees on Saturday, and having a tough, hard-fought ball game against them.
Sounds like great weather. No excuse not to be out in Huntsville. Coach, talk a little bit about what you know about Southern Utah.
Well, we're getting to know a little bit more every day. Obviously, we've never played them before and had seen them on film occasionally the last couple of years in the playoffs when we were looking at some other teams. Big team, very well coached, disciplined, don't make very many mistakes, tremendous size on the offensive line, very assignment sound defensively, probably as good a kicker and punter combination that we've played. Their kickoff guy, I think he's got 38 or so touchbacks and out of 50 some odd kicks, which is the highest ratio that by far we've played this year, and to do a good job in their kicking game, and just a team that is you're going to have to, they're not going to make mistakes. You're going to have to beat them and not hope that they beat themselves. So I've been very impressed with Coach Lamb and how his team conducts himself and how they play.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Coach Fritz at Sam Houston State Media. You may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line, and we do ask that you identify yourself by name and affiliation prior to asking a question.
Coach Fritz, good morning. This is Tom Zaleski speaking from the Cedar City Daily News. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I am well, thank you, sir. Any explanation why you've been so good against the Big Sky in the playoffs the last couple of years? 5-0 does leave me a little bit curious heading into this particular game.
Oh, I don't know. Just we played well in those games. We had a barn burner against Cal Poly last year. But in the other games, we've played Big Sky teams. We've played pretty well. And that's always important when you get in the playoffs. You got to bring your A game. And fortunately for us, we've been able to do that.
Other questions or potential follow-up?
Follow-up from me. Are you guys in a good place, you think, now knowing that this is a new season in spite of the two losses? I looked at last week's game you had against Central Arkansas, and let's just say the first half wasn't pretty.
No, I would consider that extremely ugly for the Bearkats. I just think that we're like a lot of teams right now. We're beat up, and it's difficult to. You have some guys that don't participate much during the week, and you're trying to get them to jump up and play at a high level on the weekends when you play, but that's how a lot of teams are right now. When you play 12 games, that's what's going to occur, and we just got to play as well as we're capable of in all three phases, and we got to do it for a whole game, and we're just chomping at the bit to show that we're a better team than what we've shown the last couple of weeks.
I'll be out there. Look forward to meeting you. Good luck.
Thank you.
I know there's other media on the call. Just a reminder to press *6 before asking, or to unmute your phone line, and please identify yourself by name and affiliation.
Hey, Coach. Boy Rep King, Houston Chronicle.
Yes, sir.
What do you think is different about your team at this point this season that maybe you were, as opposed to the last 2 years, and you guys were playing better towards the end of the year going into the playoffs?
Well, we've number one, our conference is much better than what it's been over the last few years. It's every week. I think everyone's gotten better in the conference. Second thing is we're not a real big team. We've had a few injuries that hurt us on the defensive line. We lost some kids to graduation, and we're not a real big team, and we've got to do a better job of getting our fast guys in space. And defensively, we just got to do a much better job of tackling. We did a really poor job last week of tackling, and we got to be physical. We're not as physical as we need to be, and Southern Utah is a very physical football team. So those are some reasons, I think. But I've talked to our guys about some different times when maybe we hadn't played well, gotten in the playoffs, maybe some other places we've been at and gotten on a roll. And we've shown some flashes of being able to play at a really high level. We just got to put it all together, and there's no better time to do that than this week.
When was the last time you would say you did play at a really high level?
We played Nichols, a few weeks ago, and we're up 49-3, with about 2 or 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. And, we were, I think we would have kept our ones in. They would have had difficult time scoring, and we would have scored quite a bit more, and really felt good at that time because Nichols has given a lot of teams problems this season. So that would be the time that I was feeling good about things after that ball game. Hey, we're really coming around.
After the last loss to Central Arkansas, did you think that the season was over?
Yeah, we did. We kind of had some information that, we win the ball game. We're going to play the first weekend, but we're going to play at home. And kind of approach that game as a playoff game that we had to win. Got on the bus and started kind of looking at the scores of the other FCS schools in the country who were, ranked or situated in the same vicinity as we were, and saw that a lot of them had gotten beat. And, so obviously that's what helped us get into the playoffs. A bunch of those teams would have won. I think it would have been hard for us to have gotten in, but almost every one of them that we needed to lose did lose. And so that's what got us to where we are playing in the playoffs and hosting the first-round game.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Other questions this morning for Coach Fritz at Sam Houston? Coach, when the bracket came out and you saw that if you won the first-round game, you'd be headed back to Hammond to take on Southeastern Louisiana, what were your thoughts there?
Well, we were just so happy to get in. We're so happy to be playing at home, and we got worried about us improving, getting better, and we've got all our energy, focused on Southern Utah, and they're a little different than other Big Sky teams in the fact that they're more of a physical, run it downhill at you kind of team, and and they play exceptional defense. They're going to be one of the top defenses that we've faced this season. So we've got our plate really full, and we're going to have to go out and play extremely well this Saturday.
Other questions for Coach Fritz? Coach, how is Brian Bell? I know, obviously, after the Southeastern Louisiana game, the outlook appeared to be bleak, but then came in the game last week at Central Arkansas and had one of the best games he's had all year, at least throwing the ball. Just what's the update on him?
Well, he's feeling a lot better. Didn't practice at all last week, and he played well at times last week. He had 4 touchdown passes, but also had 4 interceptions, and I think a lot of that is attributed to not being able to practice last week. So he's going to be in better health this week. We anticipate him being able to start this weekend, and we're going to have to do a better job running the football. We're not a team that should throw the ball 60 plus times in a game, but because how we played early in the game, we had to, and so I think Brian will benefit greatly from having a full week of practice.
Media, if you have a question for Coach Fritz, please press *6 to unmute your phone line. We'll try to keep him on here as long as there's interest. All right, Coach, I don't think there's any other questions today, so I appreciate your time and wish you the best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you, Todd.
You bet. We will have the coaches from Southeastern Louisiana and McNeese State on the call next Tuesday. Look for an email from me announcing those times in the near future, but we'll make those coaches available next week. We gave them a bye from our weekly call for this week. We will have a replay of this call available later today at southland.org and on our digital network through our iPhone and Android devices. So look for a replay there. We will have the all-conference teams announced today at about 2 o'clock, so look for those as well. And the weekly release will be distributed later this week. So lots of news coming your way, but thanks for your participation today. Safe travels down to Huntsville for you out-of-town media, and hope you appreciated the opportunity to speak with Coach Fritz today. Thank you.